She's gonna start recording too.
How is it?
And we're back,
when
y'all, with the squeeze. Here with my man Ish, texting his peoples. I ain't putting them on blast.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We know what he doing. You know what I'm saying?
Shut up.
Got to solidify what he got to do. But we here. We about to check out a feminist debate. My man said he wanted to see and have a conversation about this feminist movement because it is it's really changing up the world now. And if we don't really address it and really, people have what they got to say about it and stand firm behind that, then we're gonna have a lot of issues. So let's get right into it.
No barriers
Ish, did you have something you wanted to say before?
No, I totally agree. Go ahead, man.
today, so we can pick
has
what
no
we want to
barriers?
pick.
Who doesn't have barriers?
Women don't have barriers?
Women, yeah. What's
We have
stopping
no
you? You can do
barriers.
whatever you want.
I
stopping
can
you?
or you
Agreed.
can?
What's
First of
stopping
all.
you?
Yo, saw her face, boy.
Stop her.
Hold up, I'm stopping it right now.
Mm-hmm. Trying to make sure I'm close enough to the mic. I ain't used to all this.
No, that's something I'm about to cut out of here. But shawty, two of these joints is niggas.
Oh, I bet one of them look like a nigga. I ain't like, oh, that one right. Which one? Hold on, I'm
I was trying to do it before we was recording. So I'm gonna cut it out.
Cut this out.
This one, this one, and this one.
Which one?
This one and this one.
Oh, nose ass. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see. I ain't even look for real.
But this joint in the back right there.
That one too?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
It's the Vice joint.
We
Y'all.
mark this bad boy at all?
That's crazy.
Now we don't got no stake in this fight, but at the same time we
I'm
will
Liz
tell you how
Landers,
we
I'm
feel
Vice
about it.
News' chief political correspondent, and we are here today to talk about some of the biggest issues dividing women across the country. In other words, we're here to talk about feminism. First, I just want to say we know we can't represent everybody's views, but we did try our best to bring together a diverse group of women today. In today's polarized world, is feminism dead? You guys saw your hand.
I think that depends on the definition of feminism. I strongly think that feminism is more of an action than an identity. I would say it's uplifting all women, in which case it's very alive. At the same time, if we do follow that definition, feminism has splintered off into so many different areas that you can look at people like Sheryl Sandberg who say you should just get another nanny if you feel oppressed. And
So listen, I just want to make this comment.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the feminist movement is like, if you guys think about it, there was the civil rights movement, right?
Yeah.
When we got civil rights, what do?
But
We stopped marching for civil rights.
true.
So what are they marching for now?
Apparently anti-pro feminist debate, trans rights, and Me Too. So that's what I'm. Oh, I got spanked by this goddamn microphone. I'm sorry.
You need to.
I don't know what to do with this jump. Oh, hey, what's up, man?
How about that?
93.9 WKYS.
if we're talking about that kind of feminism,
Oh, it's not. You gotta
yeah,
take
it's
that
pretty
out, huh?
dead.
I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
as long as the human race exists, feminism will never be dead. There's something that we're going to have to strive and work towards to make sure that there's equality.
Her name
So
is
feminism
Antonia.
is not
I
dead.
like it.
I don't
Cool
know that
name.
it can die. As long as there's power and oppression, there will be people fighting for equity. And until that somehow goes away, feminism.
This is a natural born Karen, in her own habitat.
Is alive and well.
I think feminism isn't actually about equality. It's about equality when it benefits us. I think feminism, it's really about women wanting special privileges and treatment.
Okay, Pearl.
At the expense of men often. And I think it's alive and well, sadly.
Shorty mad.
Okay,
She look like she's about to roll over there and get her
I
ass.
think feminism is also alive and well. There are different kinds of feminism, right? Like that is obvious. And for me, as a womanist, as a Black feminist, right, as someone who's really thinking about human rights, dignity, right, equity, right,
I'm not trying
as
to
long
go,
as
you see what I see, right?
that need
I
isn't
don't see
met, we're still
nothing. I
gonna
just
keep
know
fighting.
she's talking a lot.
I think it's alive and well. I'd say that it's also very nuanced, and I think what it looks like is going to differ depending on where you are in the world. For me, I just see it as a lens, which isn't necessarily antagonistic or protagonistic. It's just a useful tool.
Similar to what Pearl just said, I find that a lot of feminist ideology and thought today feels more of like a supremacist movement rather than something that is supposed to be advancing the goals of equality. I don't think that we can really term what's going on as feminism because it looks so different to, I think, the earlier feminist movements. So in that way, I would say it's taken its last breaths of life. It's dying.
Yeah, I definitely think it's getting more and more radicalized, for sure. So it's definitely still alive.
I think I'll preface and say that I don't know so much about modern Western feminism, and there might be a lot of terms that I don't know, like political jargon and stuff. But I believe in the advancement of women, whoever considers themselves a woman. I think there's a deficiency in society. So it's deeply rooted that feminism has always...
Let's pause. So I have a statistic for that. You know that there's not a deficiency of women, correct?
Well, go ahead and pull out the facts for me. What's the stats?
There are 7 women on this planet to every 1 man.
Believable.
So definitely not a deficiency of women. Just stating it. And even if my numbers are wrong, I'm pretty sure, even if you bring up those facts and say I'm wrong, that there are more women on this planet than there are men.
Yeah, men kill men. Men kill women too.
I mean, but men are usually the ones that go to war and allow themselves to be killed. Of course, yes, men risk their lives in dangerous jobs because that's what, the statistics will say too. You know what I'm saying? It's just more likely for, a man to lose his life than it is a woman. And also, beautiful fact for you ladies out there, you get to live a longer life than us men as well.
Dang.
I think America's a little obsessed with themselves, and it's like always feminism is rooted in America and like, oh, white women started it. And it's kind of offensive because for thousands of years, women have been dying for their rights.
I think as a Black woman specifically, when you talk about feminism, the mainstream first thing you think about is a certain type of feminism that tends to exclude still, even today, even with intersectional feminism, exclude African-American women. And it's always kind of done that. And also like, upper middle class white women has predominantly been the face of what we
So then the question is, why do you fight
feminism.
for a battle?
I think feminism is
that doesn't
attempting to
represent
say,
you?
okay, the first thing we agree on is that there are barriers and friction to what I need and what I want based on the fact that I'm a woman. What it ignores is that, and what privilege is that you may not have to think that being a woman and being a Black woman and being a Black woman who has a disability, for example, impacts you further. You have more barriers, you have more friction.
So I'm not saying that she has more barriers as a person with disability, but that is a disability issue, not a feminist issue.
Right.
Because everyone with a disability would have that issue equal to you.
Correct. That's not a color issue either. Just to add on to that. Strictly disability, like you said.
Big facts.
And you are less able to get what you want. You're undervalued in a way that's like, okay, well, that's life. That's what I mean by equity, and that we're able to, without friction, all get the same needs met.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. See, I disagree with that. I think life is
Hey,
easier
Pearl.
for a girl. Actually,
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of benefits that men don't have. I'm not going to speak anything to race. I'm just talking about gender specifically. It's usually like an excuse. Like, honestly, I think as a girl, you have equal opportunity in the world. I think there's benefits. Like, for example, we have quotas for women in specific jobs that are given to us that aren't given to men. So yeah, I would say it's easier being a girl.
Just from a viewpoint over here, though, it seems there's a lot of pretty privilege in what you're saying, and that you're white and you present.
Do you think I'm pretty? Thank you.
I think that you present in a way that beauty standards have accepted. And so
they call me ugly on the internet all the time. They be roasting me daily.
She a big girl,
but
I don't mean to say I think you're gorge. I just mean that there's a certain value that we give to their bodies.
I mean, let's also dig into why these.
But hold on. She said she had pretty privilege.
Okay.
Shorty like 6 foot. I mean, and shout out to the girl Pearl, but it's not that it's the most appealing thing. You know what I mean? But
I'm not gonna say she ugly. I'm not
I didn't say
she's
she
extremely pretty or nothing like that either. Pearl definitely. She cool. We call them cool.
Yeah, but
I think it's more of a her issue. That seemed like a lot of insecurity coming out of the lady in the tan. I forget her name.
I
think it was Linda. I'm not sure. I don't fucking know. I think it was. I just cussed, my bad, y'all. Bleep.
No, you're good. But I just think that she is definitely deflecting the whole question, talking about how she's being something of a person of a privileged standpoint instead of trying to attack the actual problem.
Right. Which is she's
and
really
why the-
aiming at in the core. So yeah.
These what you're calling
because we
privileges
want special treatment.
No, it's because there have historically and presently in most jobs been fewer women because of sexism.
How is it sexism when we have no barriers today? So we can
Who
pick
has
what
no
we want to
barriers?
pick.
Who doesn't have barriers?
Women don't have barriers?
Women, yeah. What's
We have
stopping
no
you? You can do
barriers.
whatever you want. What's
I
stopping
can
you?
or you can?
What's stopping you? As a woman.
As a woman.
As a woman.
That ignores a lot that I'm a woman with a disability. So there's a lot stopping me that you don't have to think
So
about.
she has a disability. What disability? What's her disability though?
You're speaking as
I'm not trying to be rude,
yourself.
but she ain't got
Speaking as
legs.
an able-bodied.
Oh, okay. I wasn't
woman.
even thinking.
I
That is
understand.
represents white.
Of course, there's going to be
I was
other
looking at her,
barriers
no.
if you're disabled. I'm sure. Like I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not, I'm
see,
talking
she's
about
stumped
as
too.
a
She's
woman.
like, yeah,
So
you're
you're
disabled, but as a woman,
Women have it easier. Yes, I would agree.
What?
You're just going to ignore the pay gap, regulation over bodies.
The pay gap has been proven and debunked.
Pay gap doesn't exist.
what you think about the pay gap? You know about that?
Is that even real anymore?
It's been debunked several times, but they will still argue it, and we're gonna hear it right.
Yes.
My friend.
It doesn't. It's the industries that women pick.
Let's talk about it.
There's a pay gap, but it's because women don't want to do the hardest industries.
I don't think it's that simple. I think that's an oversimplification. I think the fact of the matter is that women structure their lives differently to men. Men don't give birth. Men don't have to carry pregnancies. Men don't have to be the primary caregiver most of the time. Women also don't hold jobs for as long as men do. They often will stop and start. They'll go back into work. They'll take time off. They'll take part-time jobs. The way that men work and women work are astronomically different. And to try to say that they're comparable is where this issue comes from. They're not comparable.
Two things. First of all, let's dig into why they think that they should take these jobs, which is societal sexism. And then also, Department of Labor, all statistics, at least speaking in the US, have found that when compared to the same jobs, there still is a pay gap, particularly when it pertains to
sociology.
Because 60% of women have never asked for a raise. So how can you complain about your pay if you don't ask for it?
Why are they not?
What happens when women ask for a raise?
Sorry, I've been wanting to say something, but I want to be respectful. I don't want to interrupt people, and I want to let them finish their thoughts.
Jump in,
But
go through the wall.
It is a very privileged label, right, to be able to say that you're feminist, right? And I say that because I come from a working class background of Dominican immigrant parents. My mother would not necessarily identify as a feminist. I look to my mother, and I do think of her as a feminist. A lot of my ideas and my empowerment comes from seeing her survive and put food on the table. When I'm thinking about feminism, I'm always thinking about who's not part of the conversation. What are the barriers? How do we think about equity? How do we think about self-empowerment and agency and having a voice, right? And having choice and thinking about our basic human rights, education, access to health, homes, having bread, having food, and those things are very important, right? And they're at the crux, right, of what a lot of us.
So my question is, I'm sorry for pausing it, but Shawty was rapping and she be doing that.
She be rapping, yeah.
But I think those are all human needs. Those aren't for just women.
Exactly.
I'm so you're saying that women need to eat more than anybody else?
I feel like she was getting. I mean, no, because she right and she wrong because that's just single family, one parent household right there, being raised by a woman. That's not necessarily.
But there are several programs. So, listen to the disparity in this, right? There are several programs across the United States for single women, disparaged women, meaning if they've been essayed or going through something. But how many establishments are there for men that have gone through a struggle, aka essay or assault or anything like that?
What are you talking about?
How many in the US? How many do you think they are?
I don't know.
Just take a guess.
One.
That's it. In the entire United States, there is one. One.
Hey,
it's only one spot. And obviously they ain't there, but I don't even know. We'll look it up later, but
here know that we
That's
need.
crazy.
It's like there are the barriers,
Big
right,
one.
that we constantly ignore that are very much systemic and microaggressive, right? We see them and experience them every day.
Like what in the U.S.?
So,
like what?
What would you like to know an example of? So
I know you said that there's like
She ain't even got
barriers.
an
I want to know
answer.
what barriers in the U.S.
She ain't even got an
as a
answer,
woman.
y'all.
Well, as a woman or as a woman of color? Let's be specific.
As a woman. I
Why-
said as
why
a
is
woman.
getting
Well, no,
divided
I
to
can't answer
color
as a
again?
woman.
I
'cause I'm
just feel
not
like
a
your
woman,
question is
right?
kind of hostile when you're like, there are no barriers to what I want. Congratulations. That means you have a privilege where you're not facing any friction, and that's showing. And I feel like it's
I think
like
as an American, you're very privileged. Like,
Yeah, I think they're weaponizing
Or
trauma
like a
right now.
basic
like,
level of what
it's crazy.
I mean, the feminist movement is when it comes to just being born a woman, right? Physically, pound for pound, we are born as women and we have less lean muscle mass than men. So there are issues of violence and assault and stuff like that. And so therefore, there are policies, there are things to help women physically, like, for example, I believe being able to carry a firearm and being able to use that safely to defend yourself against men who are...
Wait a minute. You heard her? She thinks that all women should just run around with firearms against natural men. Bro, do you know how many people would be gone, bro?
Yeah, you know how much I'm gonna catch a lot of backlash for this, but you women are some very emotional creatures.
And it's sick, bro. Like, what? Shorty would just like
nigga, you said what? You said what? Bow! Oh my gosh.
My thing is, not even just that, because the way she acted, let somebody be walking down the street and just, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you dropped it. Block up.
That's crazy. Or you might get the person that actually lives the same route they're going and they happen to be walking down the same block. Like, boy, you've never seen you before. Wow. Like, oh my God.
He's like, son, I just live right there dying. And then she got 3 bodies. And they're not even calling her a serial killer. Yeah, it's all been self-defense.
I mean, honestly, I think the world would be better if everybody just had guns.
Homegirl right here, the light-skinned shawty, she looking at her like, oh, hell no. She's like, what?
She made a couple of faces. She made a couple of faces when they were talking about the race, the color. As soon as she said the color, she was like, you see that? I was like, I peeped her.
All right, let's get back into this.
Born naturally with more muscle mass than a woman.
I mean, we do.
That is scientifically
Welcome to
true.
Lit,
That's a fact.
Yeah, but
and immersive new
that's not a reason to have a gun, though.
I keep
Exactly.
hearing the term equity. What would a world
Get a
that
taser.
has equity look
A
like?
blade.
Would it be 50% of everyone in the same jobs? Would it be like prison?
So no,
50%?
that's stun gun.
50%. So what does equity
With
look like?
So equity is generally described as a state of fairness because historically a lot of people have been arguing for equality, but what does that give us? Like 0.5 of the 1% being woman. This doesn't really do anything for us. And so people have talked about equity instead, which is instead of sameness, it's fairness. And this would mean that we remove systemic barriers to engage in society, not just for women, but also for everyone.
So which
that's
barriers?
a trans woman?
Those barriers that you don't believe in.
I do.
For you to have a bunch of ramps in your life, it doesn't do shit. I need those
They be
ramps,
out
right?
here.
Can we stick to male versus female? That's my
Gotta say
question.
the letters,
I'm thinking
alphabet.
male versus female.
But my feminism includes ability, it includes
my
race.
question is
Gotcha. I apologize.
women
I
versus
did not even
men.
know that was
They will
Like
cancel you
what
just for
barriers
that.
do we need removed?
Damn, before I even
That's my
started.
statement. I'm not stating anything else. I'm
LGBTQ.
stating women
I
versus men.
apologize.
It's very
I just say
silly.
the alphabet.
So what barrier?
Why is
I
it
just want
silly?
to know.
The question
It's
is a fair
silly.
question.
So yeah, but
It's not a fair question. It's
how is it not a fair question?
Kind of proving the point of what people, especially Black women, other people who are anybody who's not white, why we hear feminism and we don't want that label because it means, I'm just gonna say, it means that. Like, it means that you've already gone to a pinnacle of whatever you think your happiness needs or whatever your survivalist needs are, when there are people on lower end who are trying to survive, who are trying to get to a point of what should be normal, based on what other people have.
It sort of sounds like you're saying feminism is not always inclusive then.
Right.
It's most of the time it's not inclusive. It's more times than not, it's not. So, and within the
So wild radical
feminism
group.
space,
It's
again,
it's
there
a
obviously
They got
the very
subdivisions.
basic
subdivisions. It's a guerrilla group, bro.
But unfortunately, we've only had one subset of women be the face and voice and the academics and research and
Yes,
everything
and
to
not
be able to
hold
say
on, and not to be rude, the true leaders of the feminist party, bro, are always the wildest, hair-colored joints that just want to cut you out, don't even want to listen. Joints.
I ain't never been.
I ain't never been to it neither, but I seen enough.
Oh, all right.
That's all he said. I never been. You act like I be out here. Yeah,
well,
look, we
that's the
do.
standard we need to
Yeah,
be in when there
Nothing
are other
wrong if
people
he
who are
was,
still
bro.
I
trying
mean,
to get
at
to
first,
some
you know,
type
I thought that everybody was a
of
feminist.
normalcy
I
and
see
just
this. I
living.
know nobody.
What
should
is
be.
the biggest issue then that feminism faces?
I think
Protect
it's the
all
mindset.
females, but
Women
I'm
taking
not a
like the
feminist like that.
agency, women taking
Not that.
initiative. I think
They,
it's
they seem
mindset
like you
holding
said
them
like
back a lot
radical.
because if you
These
want to be
are
in
the
a competitive
representatives
world
though,
and
so this is
compete,
the
you have
movement.
to have the right
This is a small.
mindset.
Like these are
And I
reps.
think a
Like
lot of
they're
people
actually like high
blame
ranking.
their
Yes.
lack of
And then none of them
confidence
are coming
or
from the
what
same
society
angle.
tells
Oh.
them
So what's
for the reason they're not
That's what I'm saying. This
achieving
is
what
like
they need to achieve.
pause. This is why I said like the civil rights movement
Hold on,
only had they had the militant version,
Hold on.
and then they had
all of these women right here are
yes.
the leading
So
representatives.
listen, like even your homegirl Pearl, she got a podcast trying to be anti-feminist, right? She's a Australian anti-feminist. These are other feminists in the room now,
Mhm.
and then of course the trans saying that they are as women. So
They are women. That's what they identify as.
so what is a woman now?
A woman now, shoot, whatever they just defined it as in America, it depends on. See, it's all about location, my boy.
And see, this is why I wish we had watched the other one because this lesbian said it perfectly. She was like, I mean, and I'm not, believe me, I'm not against y'all at any standpoint, but there should be a clear definition of what a woman is because as a lesbian woman, how do you define your sex then? Because if somebody is identifying as a woman and they as a lesbian are attracted to cisgendered women,
But they would have to use that definition. They had to use the lesbian woman before that. They're a woman, but they're a lesbian woman, right?
but the
They had to
lesbian,
use
she was saying she's
son.
not attracted to non-cisgendered women, meaning trans women,
Mhm.
because she's only attracted to natural born women because that's why she's a lesbian. Because it would defeat being a lesbian if she got with a transgender woman because she would be with a man. Yeah.
No, I understand that angle because that's because I mean, see.
All right, let's get off of that. Let's get off this. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that too hard because we're gonna get back into this.
You're gonna get in a rabbit hole
That's not
messing
the
with
case.
that
You
one.
have to have the mindset of achieving because the men who built the world had the mindset of building it. So the women who want to engage and build that further, they need to have that same mindset.
I don't think we do. I think that's like assuming that we all want to be capitalist babies.
Right.
I think that men are not well adjusted in the society and women are not trying to
Hold on. So she said she doesn't think that they should be motivated to build the world that we live in because that's what the woman just said.
Hold on. So then, what is she doing here? Is she's gonna buy fly clothing, her threads?
But that's what she's saying. She's saying that we're all capitalistic babies and we don't produce anything. But there's definitely things that men produce. Like let's just bring like a small list.
Mhm.
Even if they don't technically produce, if you want paper, you need a lumberjack. Right there, yeah, there's machines that kind of do it, but there's still somebody has to map out and cut those trees down. Okay, right?
Very true.
Okay, even if not that, right? You need your toilet fixed. Guess what? Got to call that plumber. All right, ain't no Android for that right now.
Right.
Okay, so then on top of that, what else you got? What else you want to throw in there?
I mean,
Just one that a man is doing and a woman ain't doing.
I'm not gonna say women are doing this, but the ratio of men doing it versus women is mechanics. You know, you got an auto issue, you're probably gonna see a man before you see a female.
I know a lot of mechanic women that's gonna
No,
probably try to jump on there.
I understand that, but I didn't say that they're not there. Like
hold on, I got one still in the same realm though. Right, the welders.
Welders as well, but there are female welders.
I'm not saying there's less in the welders,
but there is much less. Yeah,
there's definitely much less.
It's a disproportionate amount.
Yes, so
and maybe that's what they're talking about when they say some pay disparities in like certain areas like that.
Well, no, because they get paid the exact same. Because now in America, you have to get paid at a starting rate. There's no there's not even really job invisibility with the pay scale. Because, for example, when you get in, they tell you the opening salary you can negotiate maybe a little bit. Now, this is talking about white collar jobs. Not even if you go down to blue collar jobs, it's literally what they say when you get in there. You get this much an hour, and you can go up to this by these methods. You get what I'm saying? So there's really no pay gap because we all start at one point, and either your skill and time will then change how much you make.
Dang. Okay. Makes sense.
I need to plug in that mouse.
Body what they have built for us. I think that like what we're forgetting is a very important detail, which is just like human respect and dignity.
Yeah,
and not asking people to prove what their experience is and to prove to you. Like it is like such conservative thinking to say like, I don't understand, explain it to me, versus just saying, I don't understand and let me respect what you are saying.
I'm respecting wherever your starting point. I'm respecting that.
No,
I'm really
see,
respecting
and that's
that.
stupid because
I'm
it's
saying
like
that
you can
if
have you
don't
can't have
the
an
mindset,
argument.
you can even achieve
It's like
it, you're
nobody
never
can
gonna
have a
even
difference
try.
of
So it's
opinion. You're just supposed to listen.
Like,
and
what are we
argue.
talking about? Because I feel like you
fair
projected this
world,
like
no,
capitalist ideology on every woman.
Achieve whatever it is you're looking for, equality, equity. But what I'm saying is women in the feminist space and a lot of these other spaces, we don't acknowledge that we have to take the initiative. We have to take the action. We have to have the mindset. We have to demand those things.
I don't understand how we're getting so off topic. This is about feminism today, whereas everybody wants to make this about their individual, here are all the multitude of other things that factor into my person. Great. This is about feminism. It's about womanhood. I understand that all of you have your own individual experiences and the other things that feed into you as a person. That's perfectly fine. But this is where intersectionality falls off the planet and loses, I would argue, probably the vast majority of people, including me. I'm not even a feminist. I don't give a crap about feminists arguing amongst themselves about who's the most victimized. But this is annoying to listen to. I honestly,
she said everything, boy.
Trying to get at.
Look, I just want to say that I don't think equity and this concept of competition can't coexist with each other. Equity is building more facilities for people who need them. It is recognizing that there are holes in the market and there's opportunities for women and feminine expansive people and meeting those opportunities. I think equity can buoy the pre-existing system that we live in a good way.
And this is where we're going to get to what I think.
Hold on, yeah. Shorty gave them eyeballs. Like she was like, yes, let me see what's up with that. I'm like, oh no, boy. No. But it's crazy how they arguing, and like homegirl aired it out perfectly. Like, bro, we're supposed to be literally the joint is anti and pro feminism debate, and y'all have talked about nothing that the women need, and just how we as men have done something as a travesty to them. And I'm not saying that there hasn't been some things that may or may not happen in these women's lives and their experience, and where they felt oppression. But it's like, what are you saying clearly was the issue? It's not really being clear.
No, it's all their experience in life.
Yeah, and it's not what is the issue for all women
Right.
everywhere.
It's like I don't understand the clear message for what's their slogan. What does it do?
At least the anti-feminism, they're together. Like they're like, look, y'all are just saying wild ass shit.
Right,
like,
because all I see they do is gather in large crowds and yell at people.
And for being a man, yeah.
But I didn't choose this. My mama made me this way.
And then that's what I'm saying. And then they want you to be non-gender binary, which I think. So listen, this is where it's gonna get crazy, guys. So listen, you got to be stand strong in your manhood. I don't give a what nobody's saying. Don't let the media, nobody else tell you otherwise. You need to stand firm, be a man, and don't play that bullshit. Go ahead.
What he said.
No, you funny as hell. But yeah, we're gonna get into this because it is crazy because like if you look at it, even the women, if you want to get into something really crazy, would want them a strong, firm man, but then they advocate for the opposite. So it's very contradictory in this world. You know what I'm saying? They want you to act soft for them, though. That's what it really is. But watch that too.
The real feminist arguments are based off of policy, and abortion is the biggest one.
How many of you would identify as pro-choice? Let's do a show of hands for pro-choice.
I feel like pro-choice is pro-life, though. Yeah.
Okay, and folks who identify as pro-life, why do you identify as each?
You've gone from
Go ahead and explain pro-choice versus pro-life.
Okay, so pro-choice, pro-life, right? Pro-choice is the choice to abort the baby before term, meaning before